tells you already that if they were created as male and female, there are certain differences. So meaning we cannot be the same. Now this is where people make a lot of mistakes. You find that a person gets married to somebody and they want to change them so that they can be like them. And the moment you start doing that, you're going to experience a lot of pain. Now, in my book, I speak about the power of polarity, meaning people are different. And in order for us to create a fulfilling relationship, I need to understand that her strengths might be my weaknesses and vice versa. Now, how do we then leverage on that? There are certain things that women can do and they can do very well. There are certain things that men can do and they can do very well. Now, we don't need to be in competition because we are different completely, and psychologically and biologically. Now, you find a lot of men saying, but if my wife can just be as logical as I am, and you find women accusing men of not being or not showing the emotional side, and that's where we make mistakes. We need to leave our women to enjoy their emotional space. And all because if you understand the science of emotions, women are able to process emotions from both sides of their brains, meaning the left side and the right side. Whereas we struggle with that. We process emotions on the right side of the brain. And in actual fact, our brain is able to shut down the emotional side. That's why when we speak to our women, we would say, you know what, let's take emotion out of this. It's unfair for men to say that to his woman because women cannot do that. That's why, I said earlier that they process emotions on both sides every time. So that's why when they speak, they will say to you, I feel like you don't love me. I feel like you don't do this for me. Not that, you have done something wrong, but to them, they don't feel the love through what you're doing. So it's very important for a man to understand that when his woman does not feel something, that might be tied to not feeling being loved. So that's why it's important for you to understand how she processes things, how she's biologically, created, how she's psychologically created. And for men as well, for women as well, they must understand that their men will be obviously different from them in terms of psychological makeup. Let me give you a simple example. That we've got something called testosterone. That's our biggest sin as men. Now, why am I saying that? Because testosterone is created to make us hard. It's created to make us very competitive. It's making us to be aggressive. So the way we respond to things, we won't respond to things just like women. So if you are involved with a woman who speaks a lot, and obviously women speak a lot, that's biological makeup.
That's why she's reading news now.
Yeah, that's just their biological makeup.
Yeah.
Now, if you are a man who is involved with a woman who speaks a lot, and you are finding it difficult to control your temper, chances are when you respond to her all the time, you'll be aggressive. Now, it could be many reasons. Number one, anger could be a reason, but also your aggression could be fueled by your testosterone levels. The more testosterone you have, the more aggression and competitiveness you show. So that's why we come in, we teach men to understand how they are created so that they can learn to respond positively to their women without using aggression. At the same time, when women speak and they want you to look at them in their eyes, they want you to stand there and listen to them. The biggest challenge is that men lose concentration. As you're speaking to them, what they do, they switch off and take one particular aspect of the conversation and they say, let me make sense of what she's trying to say here. And you will see her, she will say to you, but I'm talking to you, it seems like you're not listening to me. Because women are so they're created in such a way that they can pick up cues. They can read body language. They can see when you've disengaged. Whereas with us, it's difficult to read body language.
Yeah.
That's why when she's upset with you and she says, but can't you see I'm upset? And you say, but I don't see that. And she would expect you to see her body language.
Yeah.
And sometimes it becomes difficult for us to see that. But they can read it. That's why they can multitask. That's why they can read between the lines. We struggle to read between the lines, So those are the kind of differences that people need to understand, that she's created in this way, I'm created in this way. But how can I leverage on her ability to multitask and use that to the benefit of the relationship? Now, instead, what do? We then try to compete with each other. You know, men wants to be women, women wants to be men. And that's not how we create it.
On that, what you just said now, competition. Competition, basically. Don't you think now women have somewhat taken the role of a man, since men can no longer be men.
Most
Or-
men. No, just
what I mean?
yeah, it's just not all
I'm
of them.
generalizing, yes.
No, but you can't generalize. It's just some men have
Okay,
failed.
fine. Some men are failing dismally
Yeah, because
to take the role of being a man. So now women find themselves having to take up that role.
I'm not
So
failing.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's competition. That's like
Replacement.
replacement.
Yeah,
Okay.
fill in the gap in a way.
I think we're addressing a lot of issues at the same time. I'm talking about here when we are in a
Relationship. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and then we have certain roles to play.
Even in a
What is-
relationship.
No, let me just explain that. What is your role? What is my role?
Yeah.
Now, hence I said to you that most of us, we don't know what our roles are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest challenge that people have in a relationship, most especially in a marriage relationship, is that when men are finding it difficult to deal with issues, they tend to walk away. They tend to withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you find that when a man wants to address an issue, he wants to solve this issue and get over and done with it. So how do we solve issues? We look at the issue, we look at a solution. That's how we address issues. Well, with women don't look at the issue and the solution. They want to understand why, how, who, when, and all those things. And we're not interested in that. And that's why most of the time when we realize that we are not going to win, what do? We withdraw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the problem is. Now, if we are in a relationship whereby the two of us, our minds cannot meet, we cannot find a situation whereby we can sit and solve issues in an amicable way. As time goes on, we start to drift apart. The moment we drift apart now, we don't even have a conversation in the house anymore. Now, that woman of yours, when she's supposed to come to you and say, baby, can you change the globe? Because there's no communication, there's no peace in the house. She doesn't talk to you anymore. She goes, buys the globe and come and change it. Now, this is where you come in when you say the women are taking the role of a man. It's not about that. It's finding ourselves in a situation whereby we're no longer in a place where we can be able to talk like husband and wife. Now, the men themselves, when they realize I cannot talk to her, what do? They take out their own clothes and iron for themselves. It's the same thing, but now that's completely wrong because now we are saying, I don't need you anymore. I don't need you anymore. I can do it on my own. Then what's the point of being in that relationship? Now, because we need to support each other's strength. We need to work with each other for the benefit of the marriage or of the relationship. So hence, then we need men and hence we need the woman in the relationship. Even the children that we raise, they need both parents because one can be a bit tougher on the child, the other one will be softer. And that's how we create it. Even in every situation, you're going to need there's going to be a situation where you're going to have, somebody to be hard and you're going to you have a situation where somebody needs to be soft. Now, most of us, we cannot do both at the same time. That's why my wife will calm me down when I'm angry at somebody. And I will also help her, baby, you know what, your kindness has been taken, for
Advantage of, yeah.
People are taking advantage of your kindness. And because she's a woman, and you need to understand the biology of a woman. Women, they've got something called oxytocin. That is called a bonding hormone. That's why women can get attached to things, attached to relationships that don't serve them positively because that's how God created them. They are nurturers, Whereas with us, we can have a child and leave them and walk away. We don't even feel the pain. We'll just walk away. But with women, it's somewhat difficult and a bit of an impossible task to do.
I think we've got one caller.
It does happen, but not always.
Let's take one caller. Good morning. Good morning. You're live on Twane. Okay. No, I'm losing to that one. Last. It's one copy.
Okay, I'll pack for you guys.
It's one copy. It's fine.
You guys.
Oh no, I will pack this.
All right.
Mad about our show?
Let us know on Facebook
Twane space FM space 93.6.
and at Tone FM on Twitter.
Warning, you're listening to highly insane.
Hey, I feel the advert, fellows.
Your madness tolerance will be reached soon.
The following show is not suitable for any human being.
Enjoy, guys.
How's the video?